When I purchased my practice, it took mostly PPO insurance. And by the time I started dropping insurance, we were highly in network. We are fully out of network today. And I think we've been able to do that because we've been able to provide an experience that differentiates us from the crowd. I don't think that every practice can and should go out of network. Like, going out of network means the practice needs to transform. You can't just drop and keep operating like a PPO practice that sees volume. Or at least that's how I think about it. Now, one thing I want to say is that my practice is a boutique 2-chair practice. So the risk level of me changing things up is much lower than somebody who has a very mature practice that has to make a lot of infrastructure changes in order to drop. For me, the first insurance I dropped was Delta Dental. I actually have an entire vlog on it. And dropping insurance is very scary because you don't know how big of a percentage of people are going to leave. And the number one goal of the practice is to be as transparent as possible about what their copays may be, and you can't do that anymore once you go out of network. Other insurances I found were a lot easier to drop because they were a little bit more transparent about what the copays may be, and they also covered a lot even when you're out of network. So it didn't really impact the patients as much. When you first drop, it'll feel like it's like a ghost town in your practice, like it's gonna feel really empty. Revenues typically go up after you drop. I did have attrition, and I told myself that I would be okay with that. Because if you don't mentally prepare yourself for that worst case scenario, then it's gonna hold you back from ever doing it. I'm happy I did it. I'm never looking back. I see one patient at a time, and I spend as much time as I want with each of them. It's unheard of in a dental practice situation. I also know that my fees are definitely not low, but they're not as high as some of my competitors in Newport who do not offer the same level of service, but they command those prices just because they're in Newport. My practice is right at the border of Newport and Costa Mesa, and so most people don't even know that my practice is technically Costa Mesa. And it's been many years since we dropped Delta, but guess what's happening now? People have tried other dentists and they're coming back to my practice. For some of them that get insurance through their companies, if insurance is an important piece for them, they will change their insurance to something that's a little bit better. Sometimes patients don't know what they have until they experience what else is out there. The thing I didn't mention is that things have changed for me. It was very difficult to grow for me in the beginning, but now I get all my patients through social media. The powerful thing about social media is that most people already know who I am before they decide to come into me. You know how sometimes when you're choosing a dentist, you're kind of like picking from a list and you don't really know? People who come into my practice and are paying full fees, they have chosen me on purpose. And that's why I take that as such an honor and a responsibility to also be super transparent with them. It's been such a blessing. So I wanted to add that because if you don't have like an influx of patients coming in or leads that are coming in that want to be seen just by you, sometimes it's hard to drop insurance because those people will go wherever their insurance takes them. And they will complain about the level of care that they're getting, but it's because they're loyal to their insurance and not to their dentist. The only way to combat that is to help people understand who you are and why you're the best choice for them. I'm a big fan